Hey guys, my name is Ryan. I work under the alias name Oki, but on my Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch, I'm known as Say It's Oki. The purpose of this YouTube channel is to share how I've learned music production. I'm also here to dabble into tech stuff, clothing, gaming, and anything else, unboxing even. I do a lot of this already on my Twitch, so if you want to see the link right here, or right here, or you can go down below and see my other social medias. So let's get right into this. So today I'm pretty much just going over everything. I mean, everything. So going way back, growing up, my mother exposed me to genres such as R&B, reggae, and hip hop. As for my father, he showed me the opposite side of the spectrum, like rock and roll, metal, and pretty much any other subgenre that exists with metal. By the time I was in the 4th grade, I joined the school band, and in the 5th grade, I joined the jazz band. I was playing the drums at the time, but when 6th grade hit, I quit the school band altogether. I had met a friend at the time who was just picking up the guitar, and I was already fairly good at the drums. So we kind of started this like little metal jam kind of thing. We would always just jam in my garage playing metal tracks that we could never meet the standards to. Around 7th or 8th grade, I remember getting on the bus and some girl showing me Skrillex. She figured if I liked metal, I would also be into this weird genre too. She was pretty much right. I was also fascinated on how it was made. I actually ended up looking at the whole history about the genre on the bus ride just to school and then going home and completely like trying to find everything about it. So I think it was like the same week where I had rearranged my whole room and put my desk in that closet to isolate myself from everything. That whole week I downloaded programs that I researched of. I opened up Fruity Loops, hated it, so I closed out of it and uninstalled it, and then I got Ableton. Right when I got Ableton, I opened it up and I was like, holy where do I start? How do I do this? What? After that, I ended up reading the manual, watching YouTube tutorials, reading more forums. I did pretty much anything that I could at the time. I want to give a huge thanks to Dave from Boy in a Band and another YouTuber named Materi who had taught me a lot about sound design and music production as a whole. They put out great quality content way back in 2011, 2012. They still do, but back then that's where I recognize them the most. That's where I draw the point to them. If you're new yourself, you should definitely go check them out if my content isn't there or not out yet. I would also recommend The School of Synthesis as well. I watched all 5-6 parts of it. It was tedious. It's like this old 90s crappy movie, but it's really good. So actually getting back to that, one day Materi had uploaded a new series on how to make a track from start to finish in Ableton. At the time, everything was lining up perfectly. I had done some research on electronic music as a whole and I had much respect for it. And as like someone who was into metal, I was kind of ignorant to any other genre. I was like, oh, that's not real music. But I had a lot of respect for some reason. It was drawing me into it. I had this like ignorant mindset before, but this just opened my mind, and that's why I still think it like matured me a little bit. So Materi had uploaded the series and I was pretty much following it, but then I gave up through like the 3rd video and I was like, yo mate, what's your Skype? And then I kept like bugging him till he gave me it in the comment section. He definitely did. So he actually ended up teaching me a lot more than the tutorials would have before, because they were more targeted to beginners, but I guess I was picking it up fast, a little bit more faster. And he was helping me a lot more too, so it was a lot more hands-on help. He actually ended up collabing with me on my first track I released, which is Ellie Goulding's song Lights. It was a remix. And a quick side note, almost anywhere I go, restaurants, clothing stores, on the radio even when I turn it on, I barely do, Lights always comes on. It's like the strangest thing. Like I'm like, my girlfriend and I on a date, like it came on and we just looked at each other like, what the hell, I told you. But long story short, when I released that song, I was very impressed with myself, and I think him and I were both happy with it. It was one of the better songs we definitely released, and it was my first song, so I couldn't have been happier. As much as I could, whether if it was bad or good, I knew it was going to gain me fans, and I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a whole lot, actually, that I worked on it every day. And when I started releasing, I noticed there was a lot more than just putting a song out. I had to learn Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects, and Premiere. And I also had to learn some basic business practices too, on marketing and networking. Back then in 2011, all you had to do is add everyone and their mother on Facebook, all around the world, who had an alias in their nickname or just in their job description. Post some mediocre memes, and people would flock to your music. But now it's a lot different. Also back then, I think people were reaching out to help each other more frequently, trading samples, project files, and showing tips. Now I feel everyone holds their stuff so tight, so we don't grow as fast as a community. But that's just me from my perspective from 2011 to now. And I think like it's just crazy. Like there's repost groups now. Like you don't need to do that. Just get a good friend group. When I turned 16 or 17, I had got backstage on this Datsik tour, Digital Assassins. Back there I met Hero Bust, Must Die, Getter, and Datsik. I had handed a USB stick to Getter and asked him to check it out, and luckily he actually did before he even went on the stage. So he actually ended up dropping one of my tracks. Before the drop, it was like his voice through an old Instagram video, and I'll just play the clip. So pretty much everything from 16 to 17 to now has been a blur, just because I haven't had huge milestones, or I just moved on from dubstep as a whole and I have been just searching for my genre of choice. I believe I was still 17 and I had been still talking to Materia at the time, where we formed an alias called Keyboard Warriors, and it has such an R&B-ish vibe. I'll just play a couple clips right now. It'll be clip 1 and 2. We had met up once and taught some kids at the YMCA on music production and electronic music. Then we actually had met up another time after that for our first IRL collab. I think it was both of our firsts. It was kind of fun actually. We went to my room and literally just jammed out for like a whole night just playing music, and then played a little bit of Arma after. So all good things come to an end pretty much. So we got a little bit older, lost a little bit more time, and we had to focus back on our solo projects where we lost touch on. And we kind of started becoming washed up at the time, I would say. We definitely did. So at this point in time where we became washed up a little bit, I was a senior in high school, I think. And I also linked up with like a bunch of local rappers and singers. Not so much, but I learned enough where to work with the artist, how they would like it, how to tailor work to a certain person. I also learned how to work in a studio. It was literally like free studio time. I could not have complained. And it was local studios too, so it was really heartwarming to see other people like around you doing the same exact thing that you are, which was great, but they were getting paid for it and I wasn't. So now we're at the point where I just graduated high school and I'm moving on to college, and this time we're pretty much going to cover everything from after graduating to end of first semester of college. I would actually say it happened about last year at this time. I had 2 roommates at the time, one my best friend since preschool and one my good friend since high school. They both really believed in my music and they thought it could be something, so they kind of convinced me back, and I had all the resources at my college. I had a studio, I had a bunch of creative people around me. I had started up a new alias called Rocco. This was mainly just to go fully anonymous for a whole year, just to reteach myself music and sound design and anything else that could possibly come with it, because I had everything around me too. And Rocco was mainly just to be uploaded for my friends to see. Like that was about it. I have it on public now, so if you guys want to go check it, what I was doing that year, you can, and all the dates are there with original project file names. So my freshman year in college, my major was video game design with a programming concentration, but then I picked my focus to be audio, so I kind of was forced to go back into audio, and I was very happy with it too. I met a great group of people from my college that are amazing at sound design. I met professors that really supported me too, which was great. And that really kind of boosted me back up and wanted me to create Oki again, that's for sure. So now I'm pretty much here to share my knowledge with others, pretty much to bring back my hardworking self from high school to now and apply everything that I've learned throughout the years. Also, I just want to bring back the community that used to be in 2011, where everyone was close, everyone knew each other, everyone was there to help each other. So I would pretty much expect to see all these topics that I covered, such as music, gaming, clothing, tech stuff, graphic design, business stuff, anything that you guys could possibly ask to. And I'm doing this always on my Twitch. So like I said, down below, you can follow any of my socials. I'd prefer my Twitter because I'm always on there. So that concludes pretty much one of the first videos I've recorded. If it's the first upload, I don't know. Leave a like, a comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. See you guys.